everybody from Las Vegas. I made Mike go outside into the hallway because I was like, I don't know, it's too awkward to like just talk to the camera when someone's in the room. But anyway, Mike and I are here. We flew out yesterday afternoon, walked around for, you know, the rest of the night and found some cool things. But we're here for CrimeCon, which I'm really excited about. So, you know, true crime convention. It's like something years ago I would have really been anxious about. I mean, I'm anxious now, don't get me wrong. My anxiety is not great. I didn't get a good night's sleep either last night or the night before we flew out. Of course, because, you know, a lot of this stuff is really triggering to me, but similar to like the taxidermy stuff, it's like I don't want to avoid it. I don't want to deny that it's like something that I'm really interested in, and I'm excited. I got special tickets to go to the Paul Holes book signing. That's tonight, and I'm excited for that. And yeah, so it's like 9:15. We're at Bally's, that's where we're staying. It's like 9:15 in the morning, so it's much later on our time schedule. You know, it feels like it's afternoon already. Yeah, we're gonna go find something to eat, and then stuff doesn't start here until like 12, so we just have to be back in like 2 hours or so. I'll try and record some of it. I don't want to be like disrespectful because there are a lot of like victims, families, and people, you know, like that have survived things gonna be talking. So although it's a convention, I still want to kind of like have that barrier of respect. So I'll get a feel. I've never been to something like this before, so I don't know exactly what to expect or what's like the etiquette or anything.
If this is your first panel of the day, welcome to CrimeCon 22 in Las Vegas.
Now, check out all our investigations by signing up at foxnation.com. I have no choice but to declare
that at the crime scene, on the victims' bodies or nearby, that they found human hair.
CrimeCon, welcome to our Master of Ceremonies for tonight's program, the one and only Cheryl McCollum.
You're gonna normally see me in blue jeans and that sort of thing, but Paul Holes. Let me tell y'all something. That man is attractive. I read somewhere where he liked the southern accent. I said, I got one of those. Y'all, welcome to a night with Paul Holes. Where else, other than CrimeCon, could you have a star-studded event with our true crime heartthrob? I'm Cheryl McCollum, and I want to welcome y'all to the Paul Holes extravaganza. Y'all know him as a cold case investigator, an author, a podcaster, a TV personality. He's worked for the Sheriff's Department, the DA's office. He's a famed investigator. Y'all know he has led the investigations in cases such as J.C. Dugard, Lacey Peterson, and the Golden State Killer. The only thing more impressive to me than his pursuit of justice is his compassion for victims of crime. Y'all, get on your feet and welcome Paul Holes.
Good God. No, I just want to take a moment, thank everybody for being here. It's been a long road to get to this point with the book, and this book project has evolved, which I can get into a little bit later in terms of really what it turned out to be. But again, I hope that we're going to have a lot of fun tonight because I have seen what's on activity.
Number 2, I've never been a number 1 guy.
So, I guess I'm supposed to read this myself.
He's gonna read it, and then we're gonna question him for about a minute to figure out if it's a lie or it's true.
Okay. So, when I was 14 years old, I was ditched by 2 girls at Solana Mall. After that, I walked 13 miles home by myself, while along a very isolated stretch of road, a white male driving a prototypical serial killer van stopped and offered me a ride. Remember, I was 14.
What kind of van was that?
It was a conversion van, not sure what year, not sure what make and model, lighter color.
Did you take the ride?
I did not.
Did it frighten you?
It did not. I was 14.
Have you seen these 2 girls since?
I did. I went to school with them the following week. I'm sorry, I think Gail's putting this.
Did he offer you anything?
He offered me the ride. That was it. Then I said no. And he drove off.
Was it hot, cold, rain?
It was towards summertime. It was hot. And this is in the Fairfield, Vacaville area.
Do you think it's a lie?
I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
It's true.
Sticky eyebrows and crusty nose.
Okay, tell him.
No, delete it.
No, let me just ask. Okay, today's the second day. We're waiting for breakfast. It starts a little bit earlier today, but we're not going to the first session. So, what was your favorite thing yesterday? So we did a lot.
Can you edit this out?
Edit what out?
Like my long pause?
Yeah.
Okay. So my favorite thing.
Favorite session, favorite thing you learned, what was it?
All right.
Anything.
All right, so give me the question here.
So what was your favorite thing we did yesterday?
I like seeing Paul Holes drunk on stage.
He was not drunk on stage. I'm gonna have to cut that.
Why?
He was not drunk on stage.
He was sauce.
But no, he was not.
He was red.
The women were feral.
Yeah.
It was like,
A lot of wet seats in there.
ew.
Can you use it?
That's disgusting. Anyway, a lot of feral women yesterday. I don't know. I thought the book launch was fun. It was my favorite part, I think.
Yeah.
But now I have to edit that out.
You can't use any of this?
No, I'm not.
It's fine.
I'm not going to use any of it. Okay, what's your art project?
This is Callie's constant look. When she's looking at me specifically. Whenever I look over to her, because I'm talking, it's this face. No matter what I'm saying.
So what does that tell you about what you're saying?
That you have no tolerance.
Like the DNA is too degraded or the DNA is too old. And so this is a nice example. If you guys get a minute in Exhibit Hall, check out the Porchlight Project. We work with James Renner on a handful of cases. And here's a case that James Renner had at the Porchlight Project, some bones that were found at a barn. Who do they belong to? He worked with Bodie, who's a good lab partner of ours, and Othram. And the crazy part of the story is that when the genealogy was complete and the person was identified, it turned out to be a woman that died in 1881. So that's good news, because if your case is after 1881, we can do it. So we're inclusive in terms of old cases. We can work cases that are really degraded. By the way, just so you know, like, degradation is not even a consideration for our technology. We can work from itty-bitty fragments, it's just not a problem. And that's one of the multiple things that plague the Carla Walker case that Paul told me about.
And if I could just maybe just say something, because a lot of people don't understand what it means to have degraded DNA. And I like to just, very simply, you think about a length of string, and that's your whole, DNA molecule. And as time goes on, or there's environmental insults, that strand ends up breaking down into smaller and smaller pieces. And the technology typically requires a certain length of piece in order to get a type. But at a certain point, when those pieces get too small, too degraded, then the technology can't work. And that's where you get this. It's too degraded. And that's part of the assessment to traditional crime labs is, well, what is the quality of the DNA that we're working with here? Can we get a profile, or is it too far gone? But the technology that Othram is using has the ability to go far past what traditional testing can do.
We're fortunate enough to track down Steve Kramer. He's lurking somewhere in the shadows. That you can ask him about. He's somewhere. You can ask him about Siobhan McGinnis, this little girl in the middle. This is a case that we worked with him while he was at the Bureau. And the case was unsolved. And when we found the person responsible for her death, it turns out he's related to a number of other cases that have been uploaded to VICAP. So that's the other thing, is a lot of these serial crimes, a lot of these crimes that involve sexual violence are serial. So you find the person responsible, the next thing you know, you're solving other cases.
LaDon, what can you tell us about Melissa? What type of girl was she? What did you like? What did she do? She was in college, correct?
She was. Melissa was 19 years old, really saw the world through rose-colored glasses. And so that's what makes this even more horrific, is that she was able to be taken advantage of the way she was.
First of all, this is, there's 4 primary things here, and you guys can chime in when you've actually said, I used it, okay? So this is what's called the support equipment case, and this houses the vacuum pump, the solution delivery system, gauge. I set it up really quick, but all of this stuff comes in sterile packaging. So everything is either ethylene oxide or gamma sterilized, which is really important when you're dealing with DNA, right? So you power it up, you pressurize the solution bag. You guys ever been in a hospital, had an IV? Yeah, that's where we got the idea. And so once it's pressurized, light goes out. This is the sampling handle here. So we fire this vacuum up, and it works just like a carpet cleaner. So it sprays the solution down and then vacuums up the DNA. So you guys can see it's coming up through here, this tubing, and it's collected here in this bottle. So if I have a rock here, there was actually a case in Utah, 1996. A victim's name was Crystal Bislanowicz. This is granite. You guys have granite in your states? So there were 2 rocks actually that did the vast majority of the damage, but they were very similar to this, where the guy caught up with her next to a river, bludgeoned her to death. That was a cold case for 18 years. They tried swabbing multiple times. Now you only need a half a nanogram. I think a nanogram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram, right? If I got my math right. So you only need a half a nanogram in order to create a full DNA profile. They couldn't get it with a swab, because if you've ever felt granite, it's rough and porous, sharp edges. You just can't get it. Well, when they use the MVAC on it, just like this, I got it up here for you guys. You can just see it's just spraying and sucking. Yeah, it is all of this, Karen. You're in trouble. We're the MVAC. We suck better than everybody. All right? Okay, so that's how you get the DNA off there, right there. And so once it comes up into this bottle, then we take that bottle off and we concentrate it on this filter. And that filter is what we send to the lab. And the lab processes it the same way they do a swab. But the amazing thing about that rock case is we had 21 nanograms of DNA. So it takes how much to create a profile? Half a nanogram. We got 21, so that's 42 times more than what they needed. solved that case. Found the guy. He'd been 8 months out of prison. So you guys, you talk about these reoccurring offenders, and the small percentage of society that creates and commits the majority of crime. Well, this guy had been out of prison. He had served 10 years for murder 2, and next thing you know, he's murdered another one. So that's how the MVAC works, guys. I wish I could make it more complicated, but like I said, my dad, he came up with this whole thing, and we've said, in fact, there's a video. If you go to M-VAC systems on YouTube, we've got a video on there where it took me about 10 years to do it because I really wanted to make a tribute to my dad. He died of cancer in 2009, so he never got to see the fantastic support that the MVAC's got, especially in the forensics industry. But I know he's watching from up there, so
absolutely.
Somebody talk, because I'm
Yeah.
busting up here.
But y'all, I'll tell you, does this look complicated? And here's the great thing. It's mobile. You can pick it up and take it to your crime scene. You can MVAC a body. Think about the difference in collecting evidence of a deceased person. That's your main crime scene, right? When he says it's a game changer, and when Jim Clemente says this has changed everything, we don't have to wait for CODIS. I mean, it's remarkable when you think about where DNA has come from in such a small amount of time. It's absolutely astounding, and all for the good guy.
Wait, can you just say it? Can you say it? What did
No.
What did you just say? What did you just say?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, so we were talking about casinos. We were talking about casinos.
I asked what the...
Well, first we were talking about Excalibur. And then you asked what?
What the... What's it called?
What'd you call it?
Called it Balenciaga.
The Bellagio.
I'm not playing...
Stop! Listen, you want to be in my videos. You want to be in my videos. People have to see the real you.
1 hour later.
Hey guys, I'm trying to be really quiet because Mike's sleeping. I was laying down for maybe half an hour or so. I started having a panic attack. I'm kind of coming down from it now, I think. But it came in 2 waves. I just thought it wasn't gonna be an accurate representation of what this is like if I didn't film it. Because this hasn't happened in a while. This is the reality of living with anxiety. I feel really bad for anybody that's trying to watch this as like a travel video. I didn't wake Mike up because I try to deal with this on my own, but this is me, I think crying in relief, I guess, because probably I'm leveling out a little bit. For a minute there, though, I was really scared. I was like, afraid I was going crazy. I was like, I'm a 5-hour flight from home, and I'm not leaving for several days. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I'm gonna have to, no matter what, sit through a flight home. But things were starting to feel a little bit, not, I guess, better, but you can see a little bit through it. Whereas a couple minutes ago, I was really freaking out. It feels like logically, I know I'm gonna be fine. I know I'm gonna get through it because I always have. But for a couple minutes, it really just feels like it's gonna be like that forever. So I'm just pacing in the these triggers in your face, and today I just wasn't feeling well in general. Like I said, I feel like it's been, you know, 2 full days of, you know, constant triggers, the stress of the time change and the stress of travel and being in close quarters with somebody. And then I felt okay, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I've had 2 nights here where I haven't really panicked. I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't gonna happen anymore. Here I am. At least I can smile though. Like a couple minutes ago, I was like, I'm gonna, you know, like there was no way out. Like it was like very scary feeling. And I know probably I just know that this is how my anxiety works. It comes in waves like this. So, you know, it'll probably come back if I go and try to lay down and just calm down. There are some specific triggers that I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I'm not gonna focus on it. But because of, you know, Mike being here too, I'm worried about another person. So that's part of why I like, if I'm traveling, I prefer to do it. You know, either I like to have my own room or a place that I can lock myself away, or where that person is locked away, because then they're safe in my mind. Which is only making things stronger, making my intrusive thoughts and fears stronger, ultimately, you know, because I never face it. I never face it with another person there. I never face that fear of like, there's literally another person right next to me within, you know, arm's length. My stomach just like flipped as soon as that happened. It was like flush, like cold sweats. I didn't start crying until I actually started talking. I didn't know if I should wake Mike up. I'll give it a couple minutes and see how I feel.
The next day.
So this is a live taping for Wicked Words, and I'm really excited. Thank you. Yes, I'm excited. And I am excited, for one, I love being in Vegas and I love seeing people in person. But number 2, I am used to doing this show in my bathroom closet with a curtain behind me that covers up all my blue jeans, and I'm always in sweats. So this is a new experience. I'm really excited.
here? Why do you have a headband on? Oh my god. Okay. So today is Sunday. As you guys will have seen, I was off to a rough start considering last night. I did end up waking Mike up, and yeah, he sat there watching me pace around and rock back and forth and let me just mumble about whatever was going on. Yeah, eventually I fell asleep once my adrenaline just like burned out, but things were better this morning. So anyway,
I don't know how you do this. I look so dumb.
Okay, we have to refilm this part because Mike didn't realize I can just edit things. We stopped recording. But anyway, what are your thoughts?
Okay. It was different than what I thought it was going to be because the podcast and everything I listen to usually just focus on the killers and the aspects, I guess the sensationalism of that. So I was kind of geared towards that. You know, I was ready to hear about, I guess, just the dirty details of the crimes and stuff like that. But they really focus on victims. You know, a lot of them have, it's been 30 years since their significant other died, and they're still dealing with it. You know, they try really hard to be, you know, to
respectful.
be yeah. Well, I mean, also that the victims stay active to help other people.
They're you know, most of the people, I mean, they're here because they're involved in advocacy and like.
Yeah. So to see that whole side of true crime, it was nice to see that part, and also, you know, seeing the actual people who solved the crimes. You know, it's pretty crazy to see that they're not only investigators, but they're prosecutors, and, you know, a lot of them are forensic scientists. So it's pretty, you know, impressive to see the people out there, you know, looking for these, you know, people who commit murders. So yeah, it was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, but it's nice to see a different side of true crime than just like the gory details.
Yeah, because that's like, you know, there's kind of a like gross culture around like romanticizing a lot of the things.
Yeah. It was different because usually I'm used to seeing people who are like groupies for serial killers, which I never understood, but I just like understood that they existed. And then I saw the complete opposite with people gushing over Paul
it was
Holtz.
like that was like the attention that was given to the people that were like committing these crimes and whatever was minimal. It's like they got mentioned or, you know, whatever, but it was like the focus was on the people that were affected by what they did, whether it was like the people they killed or like the victims' families or whatever.
And it's funny, they a couple people were talking about trying to, and from now on, and you know, I know of, you know, Charles Manson and Ted Bundy and like BTK killer. I know them, but, you know, when it comes to the victims, I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know that part of the story. So a lot of people were talking about putting the victims first. And the one app, I guess that's coming out, is instead of sorting by the killer, you would look up the victim. So, you know, that's pretty interesting.
It's like victim-centric stuff, you know, moving forward. So was there something, what was your favorite, because I know we talked about the first day last time we checked in. Was there anything since then that you thought was like really cool or really noteworthy?
I mean, you know, there was a lot, I guess. Yeah, even though I made fun of him, Paul Holes is pretty cool. Yeah, I guess I'm hot for holes. But, you know, it's interesting to hear, you know, all the work he's done and
continues to do. Like even after his retirement.
He read, I guess, the introduction to his new book, and that's pretty brutal, you know. So that's pretty. I'm kind of excited to read that, and I guess a lot of the forensics, the lab stuff. We saw the I forgot the name of it, but it's like a wet vac for collecting DNA.
MVAC, I think.
MVAC.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you hear people who use it, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of talk about how things are advancing and how things will continue to advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned all about like all the different databases that like if you've done like 23andMe or Ancestry, like, you know, obviously your data is in that database, but like they don't have access to that information. So you should be, I mean, I've heard before that you should download the raw data, upload it to like GEDmatch, and I think Family Tree is the other one I knew about, but there's also DNA Solves, and I think there might have been another one, because each, like the databases don't cross over. So all the different labs and stuff, like you should, you know, do some research into, you know, how your DNA, if you've taken these DNA tests, and it's only to help like law enforcement and to like exonerate people or put, you know, people behind bars that have done something, or to like identify like Jane Does and John Does and stuff. So I'm gonna do that. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, it was just really cool to hear about all the advancement in like DNA collection and like processing and all that stuff. And we did, one of the things that we did was how bugs,
Entomology.
yeah,
Yeah.
can be crucial in like telling about like a,
It could put like a rough timeline on the death, they say. And also location. Like they broke a case just because a killer had a certain bug that was only active during the night in a certain location at a certain time of night. So
and
they were able to place them there.
And they genetic tested the bug for which area it was from, to prove that
it only
it came from
area.
like it came from the place that he said he wasn't in. So that's like super cool. Yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff.
And also the anthrax attacks from 2001, which I didn't know were in Jersey.
Which is so strange to me, because I remember.
Heard of,
go ahead.
No, I just heard of the anthrax attacks.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was based out of Trenton.
Is funny because, like, I remember it being a big thing. I remember it being really scary, and I was scared. Maybe that's just because I'm whatever about everything, like always afraid. But like, I remember in New Jersey, like being afraid of like anthrax and like not wanting to open the mail and you know, whatever.
It's funny because I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of the people who host the talks or are volunteers, or they're not only working however long it takes to put on a kind of convention like this, but they're also CSIs and lawyers, and I wouldn't even know how they have
like
that
medical
kind of,
examiners, like they were
they're
just,
not just one thing, they're like
they're doing all of it.
Yeah.
So there was a contest. There was a contest throughout this convention where it was like you had to like solve a murder or whatever, and I don't, whether you won or whether you solved it correctly or not doesn't play into, it's like you got points for certain things. And
it's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah. So one main winner got like won tickets to like next year's convention and like a bunch of other stuff. And then there were 25 runners up. And there's like, how many thousand, did they say 5,000 people were here?
I didn't hear that, but there's,
I don't know, there's a lot of
definitely
people.
thousands of people there.
A lot of people. And so then today they were posting the winners, and like all along I was like, no, we gotta do it. I want to, like, at least we gotta take a shot to win. Yeah. And Mike was like, no, we're not gonna win anything. We're not gonna do anything.
Well, because I thought it was points based, which I guess it was
for the first one.
To get the grand prize,
to get
it was
the grand
based on
prize.
how many points you acquired.
But then
anything after that was basically they just,
I think it was random,
picked out of a lottery. Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point was, I was like gung ho, and I'm like, no, we got to do it. And he's like, it doesn't matter. We're not going to win. And then today they put the winners up on the thing, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, wait, look up. And he's like, oh, that's my name.
No, you didn't notice me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, is your name up there?
Oh, okay.
I was like, look, because I was looking for my name and I didn't see it. And then I see, then he looks
up. And
I
freaked out because
he's like, I won.
I didn't even bother looking because I'm like, whatever, I'm not on there. And there I was.
And I'm like, I was all like mad. I was salty about it.
And then what did I do with the prizes?
You gave me your prizes. Yeah. So I get, it was a cool.
It was a good time.
Experience. I can't believe it's over. Like, it flew by. It was busy. I was really tired. I think that I think
it was from like nonstop from like
morning until
8 till like 12 hours, I guess.
Yeah.
And then,
each day was a little bit different in time, but they were like really long. Today wasn't as long.
Well, I guess listening about murders and stuff like that is one thing, but seeing the victims and seeing the family members, and they do their best to be strong, but you know how
it's
how much can you?
It was a lot, you know. I think
really emotional for a lot of people.
Yeah. We still have a couple days. We planned for longer, I think, than most people come to Las Vegas, just because we knew 3 days of the time that we were here, we weren't really going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, we're already all the way out here, so.
Yeah, so we were like, if we're coming all the way out here, we might as well do a couple days of like Las Vegas stuff. So, you know, we did a little bit today, so we have some stuff.
A little bit.
I mean, like we walked through a lot of the casinos.
We walked for like 8 hours.
No, it was not. You know, I mean, we had a late lunch. Then we saw the Titanic exhibit.
The bodies
we went
exhibit.
to the One Bodies exhibit in Luxor. Wait, no, Luxor? Yeah. Yeah, and then we walked through a bunch of the casinos and stuff. And tomorrow we're going to Omega Mart. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That's in the morning, and then I guess we'll see what's the rest of the day. To the sign, we walked all the way, and it's like a tiny.
It's like 10 feet big.
I thought it was a lot bigger. That's what she said. So it's our last day, and today Mike and I decided to rent a car and come to Lake Mead. So we went to one beach first, and then we decided to check out another one, and then suddenly it said that we were in Arizona, so I guess we're in Arizona now. But this is what it looks like. Our towel is courtesy of somebody who, I guess it fell off their car because it was folded up on the road. I mean, think what you will of that. Just hang out here for a little while. Our flight's at 10:20 tonight. It's probably like 2 o'clock now or something, so we have some time to kill, and we're not gonna go too far from the airport, so we're just hanging out.